So these would be the instructions to help you out on the molecular model lab for chapter 8. We're going to be using the models that the little model kits that have the springs for bonds, and there are different colors for the different atoms on your lab. I know they have a color guide, but these kits are going to be a little bit different. White is generally going to be hydrogen. You could use yellow for hydrogen too. The black's going to be carbon. You could use the red, the green, the different colors, and just color code so that you know what atom each of them stand for. You need to label those on your diagrams. You're going to be making a diagram that has as close to this as you can get. So it's going to be a ball and stick type drawing, and try to make it as much three-dimensional, be as artistic as you can, and make it look like this. For the first 3 rows, you're going to show me some work, which would be your dot diagram for how you figured out what this model would look like. So on that chart, when you do the first 3 rows, there should be dot diagrams and a space filling model that looks a lot like the actual model. You're going to try to sketch that. You can either color code and make a color code on the side. I've got colored pencils up in the cabinet. Or you can label them, like you'd put an H for each of these and a C for the one in the middle, just so we know what's going on. Read your directions. The directions tell you some things that I'm going to look for when I grade these, and if you don't read the directions, it'll be obvious that you didn't do some of the things that it asked you to do. One of those things is to name the shapes. This would be tetrahedral. Now, we haven't had the lecture about shapes yet. If you haven't had that lecture, you can look in your book under the VSEPR, valence shell electron pair repulsion, and if your model looks like any of those shapes that are on that page, you have to label the name of the shape. This would be tetrahedral. It's fairly common. If you have 2 molecules in a line, it would be linear, and it would be diatomic linear. If you have 3 atoms in a line, then it's triatomic linear. So some of them are pretty obvious, but do name the shapes. That's something I'll be looking for. And on the first 3 rows, dot diagrams and a sketch of your shape. So it is important that you read those directions. Don't just go to the chart and build what it says. You'll get most of what you need to do from looking at the chart, but the directions have some things that will help you. Down near the bottom of your chart, there's an actual molecule that in the directions they show you how to build it. Remember that for the isomers, you're going to show 2 molecules that are isomers of each other, at least 2. And we'll talk about isomers next class time. But you probably won't get to that on the lab. But if you get to that, the idea is that a structural isomer is another way to put the molecule together that's not the same. So like one person might put it together in a line, another one might put it together in a T shape. Those are 2 isomers because they're actually 2 different shapes. We also have stereoisomers that are mirror images, and they're going to have you build some stereoisomers too. Now remember, you can make a double bond, and you can actually make a triple bond. So if there are enough holes in the, for instance, here's carbon, we're going to convert this over to a double bond. So this would be like CO2. You can actually see that we've got 2 double bonds here. And if you had a molecule that you needed a triple bond, then you would just put a 3rd spring and make the triple bond. You can see they're going to ask some questions about, do double bonds rotate? No, they don't, because it's kind of like a wagon wheel. If you have a single axle, then the wagon wheel can spin. So you can spin around single bonds. Can't spin around double bonds because there's 2 connections. Can't spin around triple bonds because there's 3 connections. So you're going to put these together, make some good sketches, draw some dot diagrams for the first 3 rows. Don't forget to name your molecules. If it's not on that section in your book in that little diagram of the shape names, you don't have to name the shape. Only name the ones that are on the on that chart in the book. Get as much done on the lab as you can, and I do have notes out there for I've got the PowerPoints for the rest of the chapter, and I also have PowerPoints online with the videos that go with the lectures. So if you miss a class, go out and check those out. And do lots of chemistry, and we'll see you next time.